Now, a government-appointed committee led by retired Deputy Chief Justice Dikgang Moseneke has recommended that the Eastern Cape Division of the High Court be moved to Bhisho. It's currently in Makhanda. Let's get you a sense of what else we need to know about the story. Our reporter, Siphosethu Booi, is joining us now live from Makhanda. And there's been such a hot debate, Siphosethu, around whether or not this is advisable. For one, there are real concerns about the economic fallout of this court being moved. What is the likely impact if this does happen?
Well, Ayanda, dozens of attorney firms, including advocates, will then have to move to where the new office of the High Court would be, which is in Bhisho. And we're talking about 5,000 law professionals who employ about plus minus 600 employees who cannot afford to move to Bhisho.
Yeah, and perhaps it's worth taking a step back here, Siphosethu. What is the rationale, at least insofar as this committee is concerned, for moving this court to begin with?
The moving of this High Court to Bhisho is a situation where the High Court and also just the Commission really just wants to move it closer to where the vast majority of the residents of the Eastern Cape are closer to, which then also leaves the Makhanda in a socio-economic phrase where they best described it as the town will then have to be a ghost town, because plus minus 5,000 attorneys, like I mentioned, will then be out of jobs, which they employ plus minus 600 people, which then means that there's no gain for Bhisho if the High Court then moves to that side of town, because about 63 attorneys that are in bench, they also have offices in East London. So there's not much really that is to gain for Bhisho if the High Court then moves the sitting to that particular situation, or rather a town in Bhisho. Furthermore to that, Ayanda, is the issue of just local people here, also businesses will then also be left with no tourist attraction as far as the socio-economy is concerned, which then means also the residents from Nelson Mandela Bay and surrounding towns will then have to travel a further distance to come to the High Court, because now if it's going to be moved to Bhisho, then that also means that it now moves to that side of town. And this is actually happening for the fourth time. This report has been introduced, or this proposal was also tabled, and it was rejected back in 1990. Stating various issues of unemployment, including in 2010. So those matters that really resulted to the community of Makhanda saying they don't want this particular High Court to move to Bhisho still stand as it is, because the issue of unemployment, those issues that were stated in the 1990s in the Hawks Commission, still are relevant to the move of this High Court to Bhisho again. And again, this has no particular gain for Bhisho. Plus minus 1 billion is estimated to be the cost of moving this High Court to there, which then also further means that the court, or the report rather by the Commission, says that, well, if they move to that side, they might as well use that 1 billion rands to also just upgrade the current situation of these run-down courts across the country.
It's an interesting story. Reports that the move also has something to do with reducing the court's geographical jurisdiction. Siphosethu Booi, thanks very much indeed for bringing us what we know so far. We'll continue ventilating the story throughout the course of the day. Siphosethu live to us there from Makhanda in the Eastern Cape.